Shalom, shalom. It's the brother Yahweh Shapat coming at you with another street teaching through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Alahaya Nawa Bahashem, Hamashiach Yahweh Shai. Double honors to my apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who teach me well in these scriptures. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect brothers on the highways and the byways, pushing this word out in truth and sincerity. Double shalom to you brothers, and shalom to you brothers and you few sisters who are listening and learning. You know, it's a lot going on. And I really want to get into, get into all the uproars of the people that's taking place right now, and everything else, man. Because prophecy is rolling. Right now you have all of these anti-immigration protests going on in these different countries. And they, that's prophecy, man. I'm gonna go ahead and get the book of 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter. I'm gonna get 2nd Ezra, the 9th chapter. Because though, what we're seeing is a sign of the times that we in, man. All of these different things that are popping off are going according to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai's plan, according to prophecy. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 9 and verse 1. He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, that's what you're seeing right now. You have earthquakes happening in different places that have happened in the years past and in the year 2025 that we're in currently. And as of right now, you literally have anti-immigration protests going on in all of those Western nations, over there in the UK and in that area. And people are pissed off, and they voicing it. And all that's according to prophecy, man. And on the other hand here, you have psyops being, tested out on you people, on you sheeple. You know what I'm saying? Because, this whole thing with Charlie Kirk being shot, on camera pretty much, it's gonna lead to a bunch of different prescribed laws being passed. I'm not gonna get into that whole spiel. You know what I'm saying? What we see is what most people believe. But you always got to think outside of the box, especially when it comes to things that the media is putting out there. But that being said, him being taken out on camera like that, it's gonna cause a domino effect to happen, and there will be certain laws passed. Free speech, is pretty much under attack. That's evident. And of course, man, with all the technology Esau got, it took them 33 hours to find the killer. When you're awoke to Esau's bullshit, man, it's just easy to kind of see through certain things. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, whether you feel like, and I'm speaking from an opinionated stance, whether you feel like it was staged or whatever the case may be, they're gonna pass certain laws. You're not gonna be able to speak on certain things as far as from a political stance. Hey, man, and it's gonna get them what they want, which is an internal civil war. They want people to behave in a chaotic fashion, and so that they can bring in their NWO. The stage is already set, man. With Trump, we're kind of entering into an era of a soft martial law. When you see the National Guard being put in places, like Chicago, New York, Baltimore, DC, wherever the case may be, that's taking the power from the local government and putting it in the hands of the federal government. It's just a soft form of martial law, and it's gonna You know, it's gonna get worse than what you see it being. Now, you actually have people protesting in D.C. trying to get Trump to get the military out of D.C. You know, so and that's one of those things that it's not being televised. The news outlets aren't covering it. You know, pretty soon places like Instagram, TikTok, you're not gonna be able to post alternative news on these media outlets. You know what they want is to be able to control the narrative. So they're not gonna tell you that people are protesting in D.C. wanting the military out. You know, but these things are going on nonetheless according to prophecy. So call Loyim like Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. We understand that, you know, we're going to be caught up in the chaos that the Heavenly Father is going to bring upon the earth. But you know, Lord willing, we be of the elect, we'll be saved out of it. We'll be protected all the way through it. But we're going to have to go through it as well. You know, certain comforts that we got, we're going to have to pretty much relinquish those. You know, brothers might be put to death for speaking, you know, on behalf of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua according to the scriptures. You know what I'm saying? You could be locked up, put in a prison camp, whatever the case may be. You know, we realize what's going on, so we may as well mentally prepare to lose everything, man, because that's exactly what's going to happen. You know, pretty soon, man, they're going to come down on the men of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. And, you know, there will be a famine of the word, because it starts first with people like Charlie Kirk and Candace Owens, your Andrew Tates, Tucker Carlsons. All of those people are controlled opposition. The elite give you your heroes, and they create the heroes and the villains, man. You know? But you'll never hear them go against the small hats. You know, hey, going against the small hats to get you canceled. You know what I'm saying? It'll get you labeled as an anti-Semite. You know, Esau has his choice words in which he uses to demonize people. You know, and the other nations are pretty much fed the hell up, man. You know, because what Amalek is doing is genocide, man. It's being brought up in these international courts. Hey, they want them charged for crimes of genocide against the Palestinians. Because what they doing is they wiping them the hell out, man. And you know, the sad thing about it is they're fighting over that land. That land is going to be given back to the Israelites. You so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, the elect of Israel. You know, hey, Yahweh Shah is gonna come back, and that place is gonna be nuked and cleansed with fire, and it's gonna be rebuilt up by the same heathens that brought it to ruin. You know, so they're fighting over that land. That land doesn't belong to either of them. It never has. You know. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 16, and I'm going to start at verse 68. For behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you, and they shall take away certain of you and feed you, being idle, with things offered unto idols. You know? Hey, that's the plan of the elite. They want everybody chipped. Small or great, free or bond, rich or poor. To be able to continue on in the society, you know, the digital age, the third, what is it? The newest industrial revolution. You're gonna have to take that C-hip. You know, you're gonna have to bow down to this man's beast system, and ultimately, you're gonna have to worship this beast system. You know, and if you're not willing to do that, then you know the things that I spoke about beforehand. Hey, getting the guillotine, or being put in a prison camp. That's what you got to look forward to. And if Yahweh Bashim Yahushua ain't with you, you're going to bug out and you're going to take that chip, man. A lot of people are going to take the chip. A lot of you guys out there that know you're Israelites, you're going to take it as well. because your leaders haven't built you up concerning what to do about, you know, hey, when the MOTB is made mandatory, because that's what we're headed into, you know. And they that consent unto them shall be had in derision and in reproach and trodden under foot. For there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. They say they're going to come after the men of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. You women too. They're going to come after the believers, you know. For they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses. Man, if you don't get the tip, you're not going to be able to get into your house. How you going to get a house when that's how you're going to be paying bills, that's how you're going to be paying rent, car note, all of that, man. So eventually, if you don't take the MOTB, you won't be able to have a house. You won't be able to have a car. Hey, and you know, what they plan on is you not being able to own anything anyway. What did Klaus Schwab say? You will own nothing and be happy. You know? They want you to be desensitized to eating worms and fucking bugs and whatever the hell else they can come up with, man. You know? You won't be able to have a nice juicy steak from the grocery store. Hey, why? The grocery stores are gonna be empty pretty soon. You know? So, man, all of these things are coming to pass. So what is important is our relationship with Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, man. You know? Because when all hell is breaking loose, the Lord's gonna have the angels around his men. You know, he's gonna have the angels guiding his men through the tribulation that's to come. This is Psalms chapter 34 and verse 7. The angel of the Lord encampeth round about them that fear him and delivereth them. So those who fear Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, man, we're going to have, you know, the help of the angels, man. You know? And what do the scriptures say about that? Let's get another precept. Things are going to get so bad that, you know, things are going to get so bad that Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua is going to have some of the mightiest angels intervening for the elect, you know, and in particular, Michael the Archangel, man. He's going to have to stand up for the elect of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua during the time of Jacob's trouble. And we pretty much inching into Jacob's trouble because all of these atrocities that have happened, and what are people doing right now, man? They speaking about black fatigue. They pointing the finger at you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. You know, Nero, just like in Trump, is Nero being, is Nero Caesar being reincarnated, man. You know, if you can receive that. And what's his idea? To blame everything on Jake. When we know, man, these people create an environment that perpetuates crime so that they can have jobs. Because if wasn't nobody committing no crime, you know, what do we need the police for? What do we need probation officers for? What do we need house arrest for? You know, you got to think, man, we're the problem. No, you're the problem. The CIA makes sure drugs get into this country year after year, man. Ain't nobody pointing the finger at them. They making sure that certain of these machine guns, different things of that nature, get dropped off in certain neighborhoods, man. So Esau, all of your bullshit is being uncovered. Hey, and people are speaking out against the way that this government operates, man. You know? You got people that are in the military that can't even feed their fucking family. You know what I'm saying? A lot of you, like, you know, Jake that went and fought for Esau in the Vietnam War. What did they get for that, man? They didn't get shit. They came back here and got shitted on. You know? So all you niggas that want to join into Esau's army, you better be clear. You know, you better have your mind made up, because what you're going to be fighting against is otherworldly, man. You know? Yahweh Shai and the holy angels are making their presence known. And they ain't UFOs or UAPs or whatever that, none of that bullshit Esau's calling them, man. They're chariots of the Most High. They're spoken about all throughout the scriptures, And I'm gonna try to use as much salt as I can. But Esau is preparing, to face an otherworldly enemy to them. They don't have a space force for no reason, man. I believe, just as a matter of fact, just recently they shot a Hellfire missile at what they call UFOs, or whatever the case may be, whatever you want to call them. They're chariots of the Most High, man. The angels are what are in those operating. Hey, they shot a Hellfire missile at one of the chariots, and the chariots just brushed, it just brushed off like it was nothing. That's a Hellfire missile, man. That just goes to show you, whatever Esau does have, the Lord blessed you with all of these weapons. That's Esau's blessing, is the sword, whether that be a knife, a gun, whatever the case may be. You Edomites, you so-called white people, you make some of the best hunters. And you'll ask yourself, well, why? Where did y'all get that from? That's because you got it from your forefather, Esau, Edom. Y'all are just like him. You like to hunt until there's nothing left. You steal, kill, and destroy everywhere you go. That's y'all's MO. That's what you can expect from Esau when he occupies a country and puts a military base there. You can expect for that country to go to shit morally, financially, and in every other way. Because that's what happens when Esau crosses the border into your land. He brings wickedness with him, man. These are the people that introduce porn to countries that knew nothing about it beforehand. And when after like I said, after Esau's introduced democracy and all of these other, homo ideologies to these other countries, hey, they go to shit. A lot of these people, man, they come from these other countries to come here and to commit wickedness. That's because you can come here and pretty much do whatever the hell you want, man. Women get to do whatever the hell they want, and men gotta pay for it. Your children do whatever the hell they want. You can't, lay the rod on them, because they might call. They might decide, hey, I'm calling the cops on my parent. So this country is way past this golden age, and you're not going to be able to turn the time back on that. There is no making America great again. That's not going to happen. And that's according to prophecy. This place is circling down the drain, and eventually it's going to be out of here, man. So let me get a couple of more precepts. There is no making America great again, because this country is, basically Esau's had his time to rule. Your time to rule is nearing an end. And whether people want to hear it or not, man, China don't got up next. Russia don't got up next, man. The nation of Yasha Allah has up next. And it may be impossible for people to see us, a people that's so low to think that we're going to be set back up in order. We're going to have our identity restored back unto us, and we're going to get our land back, man. That doesn't make any sense to most people out there. They can't see it. But we have a spiritual eye to see what's going on and what's getting ready to go down, man. Hey, whether you like it or not, man, Yahweh Shai is on his way back. He's going to reestablish righteousness in the earth. See, because, people enjoy their cruises and their shrimp and their lobster. People enjoy their pork. Hey, man, you're not going to be eating pork in the kingdom of heaven. You're not going to have, what's that, cruise ships dumping untreated sewage into the fucking ocean, man. Hey, this place got to go. The way that Esau operates this place, it has to come to a stop, man. The earth is literally in a state of chaos and destruction under this man's rulership. So I need Isaiah 24 and verse 5. So this is Isaiah chapter 24 and verse 5. The earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant. Therefore hath the curse devoured the earth, and they that dwell therein are desolate. Therefore the inhabitants of the earth are burned, and few men left. Hey man, you know, the people are mourning under this this unrighteous rule. You know what I'm saying? Death runs rampant, you know? And this is and I'm gonna keep reading, because this is the spirit that these Americans are in. You know, people aren't into celebrating holidays like they were. That spirit of Babylon the Great is waxing weaker and weaker. This is Isaiah chapter 24 and verse 7. The new wine mourneth, the vine languisheth, all the merry-hearted do sigh. The mirth of tabrets ceaseth, the noise of them that rejoice ended. The joy of the harp ceaseth. They shall not drink wine with a song, strong drink shall be bitter to them that drink it. The city of confusion is broken down, every house is shut up that no man may come in. There is a crying for wine in the streets. All joy is darkened, the mirth of the land is gone. In the city is left desolation, and the gate is smitten with destruction. Hey man, so this place is on a decline, you know, morally and in every other way. Now Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua is bringing this place to naught. Hey, because he's the one that gave Babylon the Great the golden age, you know. I say the golden age, America peaked in about the 1950s. You know, from then, you know, basically from probably like the 60s to 70s, you know, it was downhill from there. Hey, and why? Because Jake started waking up, you know. And now what are the elites seeing? They seeing us coming out here and through the scriptures prophesied their downfall and giving them their future. And what's the future of the elites? Slavery, man. You know? Chains. This is Psalms chapter 149 and verse 8. To bind their kings. So like I'm gonna start at verse 6. This is Psalms 149 and verse 6. Let the high praises of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua be in their mouth, and a two-edged sword in their hand, to execute vengeance upon the heathen and punishments upon the people, to bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron, to execute upon them the judgment written. This honor have all his saints. Praise ye Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. Hey man, so the men of the Lord that stick, you know, with Yahushua through all of this hell we catching, you know what I'm saying? This is our last captivity. We're not gonna be slaves under these people anymore, man. You know, and the Lord is going to restore righteousness unto our nation. The 2/3 of you that don't want to get right, you gonna perish on this side. You know, thus saith the Holy Scriptures. Hey man, they take the worst of our people and put them in high positions so that they can keep promoting that low vibrational ass state on everybody else. Hey, and it works, because if you ain't of the elect, you're gonna be deceived, you know, by what you see. You know, you're gonna love black culture. Black culture ain't nothing but fucking death, man. That's what it is. And those who cling on to it, you find death. We're not black. You know what I'm saying? If you still letting Esau tell you, yeah, you're black and I'm white, it's 2025, man. Because when you call somebody black, you may as well call them evil, bloody, disgusting, wicked. Everything that's a negative connotation. You know, if you call somebody black, man, that's an insult. And you call us African Americans. That don't make no sense, because there is not one nation that you can say, yeah, they're from Africa and America. It don't make sense. You know, if you're a so-called African American, you are from the tribe of Judah or Yahweh. You know. Now, why were we in Africa when they came over there, when Esau came over there to, you know, pretty much snatch Jacob and bring him here? We were in Africa because that's where we fled to in 70 AD. And it wasn't just West Africa. You got Jake scattered all throughout that continent, man. You know, that's what happens. Some of us were over there in Spain and Portugal and different places of that nature because we actually had kingdoms established in those areas. You know, the Byzantine Empire, that was Jake. That you know, so going back into a little bit of history, you know, there were certain Judite men that came up into the Rome, that came up in the ranks in the Roman government, and eventually we ended up ruling. You know, the Byzantine Empire is like kind of like that last leg of the Roman Empire where Jake was ruling in the Dark Ages. You know what I'm saying? You know, and I'm not gonna go all the way into the history, but you know, Esau calls it the Dark Ages simply because it was a dark time for them. They weren't in rulership. You know, they have no history to recollect because they weren't. You know what I'm saying? They were in the caves. You know, they weren't in rulership, man. You know, for a time period, they were actually brought very, very low. You know, and you know, brought down to a very low estate. You know, when Esau came up into power, it was Jake that kind of gave him, you know, mathematics, literature, all of those different things, man, that they had during the so-called Renaissance era. You know, and when during the Renaissance era, you know, certain history was either archived or whitewashed. And that's Esau's MO. You know, anytime this man's came into power, hey, because they always wanted to be us. They don't have the blessing. You know, not the blessing that the Heavenly Father blessed us with. Esau's blessing is the sword, man. You know, Esau is damn good at handling weapons, you know, at war. You know, can Jake be good at these things too? Yeah. But that's not our blessing. Our blessing is the two-edged sword that the scriptures speak about, man. This is Hebrews chapter 4 and verse 12. For the word of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua is quick and powerful and sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing even to the dividing asunder of soul and spirit and of the joints and marrow, and is a discerner of the thoughts and intents of the heart. So we don't war with regular weapons, man. We war with the scriptures, man. Let's see. We're not involved in carnally, you know, trying to defend ourselves, man. Hey, because you're not going to win trying to go up against Esau with the sword. That's his blessing. You know, they got shit that you can't even fathom, you know. But they still, hey, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua is still going to bring them down, man. He's still going to take that power that Esau has to rule over the earth. That's going to be snatched from him, man. Very, very soon. This is 2 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 4. It's 4:44. Call Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua to the pulling down of strongholds. You know? And this place is going down. Hey, when we come out here and prophesy, man, that's part of, you know, bringing this nation to an end. You know, because when we come out here and speak the words of prophecy and put it out there, hey, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua does things, man. You know, he moves his right hand through the earth Hey, and we not coming out here speaking our words. We're the Heavenly Father's mouthpiece. You know, pretty soon, man, you women, man, that don't want to get in order, you're going to have to fend for yourself in a very, very apocalyptic setting, because that's what's coming. You know, the luxury of being able to go to the grocery store, that's about to be taken away. The luxury of having food stamps and getting assistance, whether you with or without child, man, that's being taken away as we speak. Hey, Trump is you know, and the elite, because we can say Trump is doing this and then that. He's a puppet for the elite, man. The real ones who control this country, they're worth trillions of dollars, and you will never know their names. You're not going to be able to look them up and see them on the Forbes list. So when they say Elon is the richest person on earth or some other guy, they let them be the front man for what everybody else can see. You know, the true elite, the true richest people on the earth, money don't mean shit to them, man. It's infinite for them. You know, they have all of the riches. They print the money. You know, so when we talk about who's the richest person on earth, you're not gonna see that guy being plastered in Time magazine or none of that shit, man. You know? But these people, you know, but the elite, you know, they are being exposed. Let's see, let's get a couple of precepts to back that up. This is Isaiah chapter 29 and verse 15. Woe unto them that seek deep to hide their counsel from the Lord, and their works are in the dark, and they say, who seeth us and who knoweth us? Surely your turning Salakia, surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay. For shall the work say of him that made it, he made me not? Or shall the thing framed say of him that framed it, he had no understanding? You know, so, hey, the Heavenly Father is controlling the elites. You know, the Lord controls both the good and the evil. So the evil that's coming, ain't no reason to be scared of it, man. The Lord ain't giving us the spirit of fear. You know, and we you know, on this side, we live a pretty, you know, we got this truth, man. We got spiritual gifts, spiritual riches, you know, but we ready to get the hell up out of here, man. Nobody in their right mind wants this place to continue on and say, I don't know, say we gonna be here for another. Don't nobody wanna, I don't wanna hear that, man. Another 1,000 years, another 100 years, another 10 years. This place ain't got that long, you know? But we in a time where the elite are being exposed for having their hand in everything. Government, hey, and who are the top bankers? What do they come from? They're Edomites from the family of Amalek. Amalek is the top Edomite tribe, man. They're the top family of all the families of the nation of Edom. You know, as Judah would be the top tribe of the 12 tribes of Israel. You know, and who do Amalek want to sink their teeth in? Who do Amalek want control of as far as artistically, financially? They want control of Judah. They want Judah to be demoralized and smitten down. Why? Because when Judah rises up, all of the other tribes are going to rise up as well. You know, and though we're not going to be involved in any of that, you know, the men of the Lord aren't going to be involved in any of the bullshit that's going to, well, I wouldn't say bullshit, any other things that are going to take part, Salaki, any other things that are going to take place, you know, as far as carnally. You know, you're going to have one race fighting against another. You're going to have one people fighting against another, but we're not going to be involved in that. But the Lord is going to put a certain spirit on 2/3 to run rampant through this place, man. You know, and that's in, I believe that's in the book of Micah. Let's see if I can look for it and find it real quick. This is Micah chapter 7. And the remnant of Jacob shall be in the midst of many people as a dew from the Lord, as the showers upon the grass, that tarrieth not for man, nor waiteth for the sons of men. Basically, what's going to happen is a lot of these jakes are just going to fucking snap. You know? It's going to, you know, the Lord is going to rouse Judah up, man. And all of the other tribes are going to follow suit. Because the 2/3, they don't have a sense of, they don't have that spiritual guidance that the hopeful elect has. Well, we just gonna, you know, sit back and watch shit play out, and you know, we not gonna be getting involved in rioting and you know, basically all of the insurrection that's coming, because it's on the books according to prophecy, you know. Hey, and the Lord is having Esau, you know, stir up that spirit of contentment, you know, from one people to another. You know, you got the left and the right, the Democrats and the Republicans, and people that follow their parties, they're going at it. You know, you got a lot of division and violence between one people or another now. You got that going on, you know? And not only here, in other countries. You know, so the climate of what's the word I'm looking for? The climate of martial law is gonna get higher and higher. You know, and like we always say, man, the elite, they believe in order ab chaos, which means order out of chaos. They're stirring the pot so that people can bug the hell out, so that they can have a reason to put in place certain laws that they already have prescribed, as the scriptures say, you know. And I want to get into that, man, because I'm you know, this is pretty much gonna be a short camp, shorter than I would like. You know, Jake having car problems, you know what I'm saying? Or I would be out here lonely, you know. Let's see, man, what was I gonna get? I'm gonna keep reading Micah 5, actually. This is Micah chapter 5 and verse 8. And the remnant of Jacob shall be among the Gentiles in the midst of many people, as a lion among the beasts of the forest, and as a young lion among the flocks of sheep, who if he go through both tread it down and tear it in pieces, and none can deliver. Thine hand shall be lifted up upon thine adversaries, and all thine enemies shall be cut off. Hey, the Lord is getting ready to stir Jacob, man. You're going to have race wars and things of that nature actually taking place, you know. But like I said, we won't be getting involved in any of that. But it will happen according to prophecy. Let's see. So concerning what happened with Charlie Kirk, I was doing some digging, and I was getting into AI. And I asked AI a question. You know, I won't go into the nature of that question, but well, I will actually. It was basically me asking, hey, if, I'm not saying it was, I'm saying if the elite wanted him taken out, what would be their reasoning for that? Let's see, I got some things I want to get into real quick. So the one that stuck, he gave me a few reasons, and the one that stuck out was the second one, and it was basically saying creating a martyr to control the narrative. A martyr figure can be more dangerous to an establishment than a live one, but only if they control the story. By faking the death, and we're talking in what's the word I'm looking for? We're talking in what ifs. I'm not saying it was fake. So disclaimer. By faking the death, they could orchestrate the subsequent investigation and media coverage to frame the shooting in a way that serves their interest. And this is what people ought to be worried about, man. It says they could falsely attribute it to right-wing extremism or incendiary rhetoric to justify a crackdown on free speech and conservative organizations, painting the entire movement as inherently violent. Conversely, they could fabricate a narrative that pins it on a nebulous foreign actor to justify further foreign entanglements or domestic surveillance. Now, they already got the guy that supposedly did it. But what I got from it is, what we will be seeing is more domestic surveillance. You will be seeing a crackdown on free speech because they're going to use it as a way to say, hey, we want to keep things like this from happening. So all of this debating that he was doing, you're not going to be seeing a lot. Eventually, that's not going to be allowed. Eventually, we won't be out here to come out. We won't be able to come out here and teach the word. People won't be able to protest. They're going to be cracking down on shit like that. You know? And, you know, I do believe, you know, that whole thing is an agenda. There's an agenda behind everything, man. And I'm not heavily into numerology, but them saying, yeah, we caught the killer exactly 33 hours afterwards. It's something to that. If you know, you know. I'm not going to get all into that. You know, we out here to get into the scriptures, man, not numerology. But we do know, I've heard the apostles speak about it. The elite do speak via numbers. They do put shit in movies. They put shit out there for those who are in the know and that can see it. You can see it. But, hey, man, most people are covered in gross darkness, man. Most of you people don't have a fucking clue. All you worried about is football. You know what I'm saying? You know? And I'll say this too, man. Jake needs to get their head out of their ass. Fuck an NBA YoungBoy concert. And does it not? It don't surprise me that Trump gave him a pardon. If that was anybody else on the street that was getting caught dealing with pharmaceutical drugs, committing fraud to get them, any of that, they're gonna put you under the jail for that, man. There will be no pardon given to you. You know, so him being famous probably helped him, but also him being a tool for the elite. Because with all of this shit going on, you got people like him and Jeffrey. I'm not even gonna say his name because these, you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna say that. The famous guy, Jeffrey, that just beat his RICO case in Atlanta. They got him stirring up a bunch of controversy, and they use these people because they know, you know, your everyday average Jake out there, they look up to people like NBA YoungBoy and Jeffrey and Lil Baby and all these other characters that they create and put out there. You're not worried about the right thing, man. You need to be worried about the protests that are going on, the laws that are being passed that are taking away your freedoms. The Constitution has been under attack, you know? But pretty soon, man, we're not going to be able to come out here and teach, man. We're not going to be able to have an opinion on certain things, political or religious, online. You're going to be getting shut down for that, you know? And they setting up people like, you know, Candace Owens, the guy that just passed away, Andrew Tate, people like that, man. They all work in accordance with the elite who set them up, you know? And all of you niggas out there, man, that believe your money is gonna save you, you're wrong. Your money ain't gonna save you when all hell break loose, man. You know, and brothers know, man, we the lowly, man. We live some hard, you know, but we live some, you know, we live some hard lives, man. But that's just the way of a prophet, of a man of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, man. We gotta bear our cross daily. It is what the fuck it is, man. Excuse my language, Salakia. But it is what it is. But those of us who are suffering now, we gonna have up next, man. If you just take the hell on the chin, hey, you know, we look forward to a better tomorrow because it ain't gonna be that long, man. And all of this shit that we going through right now, we gonna look back at it and laugh at it. It's gonna be like it was a nightmare that you woke up from. That's what living here in Babylon the Great is. It's a nightmare. Hey, and being righteous in a world that's full of wickedness, it can be very, very tiresome. People you gotta deal with in the world, that shit wears on your spirit, man. You know, you gotta fucking work 50 hours a week at one job and probably get another one just to survive. You know? So we're in Egypt all over again, pretty much. You know, we being worked the hell out of. You know, Pharaoh is putting hell on us, especially Trump. Hey, you niggas ain't had this much hell put on you since the Clinton administration. You know? Hey, they basically saying Jake is born to be a criminal. And it's funny because, you know, Trump's a fucking criminal himself. If he was anybody else, he wouldn't have been able to be president. How the hell do you get a felony and you can become president? Didn't he just have a case or something like that going on? Hey, man, so this place is a fucking joke, man. You know, and that's what we put out here to do, to call out Esau and to call out 2/3 of our people, whether they were here or forbear. Hey, and you know, ultimately as well, man, the other nations. Let them know what their future is. Because it's not rulership. It's gonna be subjugation under the nation of Israel, man, dealing firstly with Yahushua and the hopeful elect. You know? Y'all not gonna be coming into power after Esau get taken out of power. You know, yeah, we're gonna see Russia take the stage as the superpower. No, man, the nation of Israel, the nation of Yasha'Allah is gonna be the new superpower after Esau gets taken out, which, you know, hey, that's gonna happen. You know, Elder Pastor Hard was saying that he thinks Charlie Kirk could be an Israelite. And I'm not gonna argue with that, man, because this thing ain't a thing of color. And you got Jakes that know they Jakes, that look like they Jakes, that spout some of the same bullshit he spouted. Now, do I agree with everything he was saying? No. Some of the stuff he was saying I agree with. Some of it I don't. That's not the case, no. You know, that's not the case. The point being, hey, he could be, because this thing ain't a thing of color. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna have Israelites, man, that look like Esau, man, that look like all of the other nations. But if they can get down with these scriptures, if they can hear the word, you got to deal with them. You know, knowing the knowledge, we know Jake ain't, you know, the Israelites, every Israelite's not going to look like an Israelite, man. Salaki. So yeah, man, that's pretty much all I had, man. I'm gonna wrap this street teaching up. You know, I wish I could stay a little longer, and hey, man, Lord willing, I'll be able to come back out here next week. You know, but you know, the climate that we in here in Babylon the Great, man, is hey, Jacob's Trouble is the headliner. You know, and everything else is gonna follow suit with that. You know, you have, and we got to stay on top of things, man. You got pestilence going out. You got famine in different places, earthquakes in different places. You have, hey, all hell is breaking loose and everywhere. You know, and we got to be aware of what's going on. You know, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua willing, we stay occupied in prophecy, because that's the gift the Lord has given us. It's prophecy. To see these things that are happening, and to be able to go into the scriptures and connect them, you know, and come out here and bring this word out. We're not gonna always be able to do that, you know. And the last precept I want to grab before I wrap this up, I'm gonna get Amos 8 and 11. Sure. This is Amos chapter 8 and verse 11. Behold, the days come, saith Yahweh power, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, but of hearing the words of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. So we able to come out here and to teach and do this and do this now. We're not gonna always be able to do that, man. And things like Charlie Kirk being assassinated while you know, in an ongoing debate, all that's gonna do is make them crack down on free speech. It's gonna make them release some prescribed laws that they already have on the books concerning free speech, concerning your ability to speak on certain things and have a voice about it. You know? And what do we voice our opinions about? Like I said, things that we see going on and linking them to prophecy. It's gonna come a point in time where we're not gonna be able to do that, especially and be able to upload it on YouTube, man. They're gonna crack down on that. Brothers already had whole channels deleted. They're going back years ago and deleting videos that I put out during the C2020 era, man. You know, very edifying videos as well. Hey, the spirit was on me heavily during that time, just like it was on every other brother to speak on certain things, and we were right. You know, so I'm gonna go ahead and close this out. All praise, honor, and glory is due unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Rahakodash. You know, again, double honors to my apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who teach and rule well in these scriptures. And peace and blessings to the hopeful elect, you know, that are on the highways and the byways pushing this word out in truth and sincerity. Again, shalom to you brothers and you few sisters who are listening and learning. Until the next one, shalom.